on the much love news stories, if you will, or blog until we see each other in person for big hugs. Of course, we'll be in touch, of course. But thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy. Maki, so I'm glad that I did.
I am Gaima, a podcast curating dialogue with the intention to solidify connections between African diasporans and Africans on the continent. All are welcome to listen and be filled with a deeper understanding of our narratives. You're listening to part 2 of my conversation with singer, songwriter Ilaiki. In part 1, she shared with us how she was able to identify and battle COVID-19. In this part of our discussion, she not only reflects on her recovery, but also shares how she has pivoted as a performing artist to maintain her creative flow during these unprecedented times. You're listening to Conversations with Creatives on I Am Gaima, a podcast. It's been gloomy.
Not ask for too much. It is I'm back from the Instagram.
I know, right?
Belly.
Yeah. No, I was just in the comments real quick, and one of my moms, she is on, and she was like, "I'm glad that you did the live today." Because I was actually going to shift and start doing only 1 hour, 6 to 7, instead of what I've been doing, which is a 5 o'clock hour and a 6 o'clock hour.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like we can't get it all in just 1 hour. Like,
creatives, conversations with creatives. And then, we
yeah.
Pew, 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 pew.
Yes. Yes. It's just an hour. It's just not enough. And Instagram is like, we've been on this 1 hour. Y'all are all trying to just, show up now. I know their servers had to be adjusted to accommodate everybody. But there's some new people that are on. I know some people that may be joining and rejoining. So if you're rejoining, welcome back.
Hello.
If this is your first time on this hour, hey, welcome. So this is happy hour, but it does not mean alcohol hour. So I am on with one of my dearest friends, Ilaiki. She is a singer, songwriter. First of all, did I introduce you correctly?
I mean, please, darling, if you would like to say more, Can
I say more?
No.
Can I say more? Yeah, because okay, I know that you have acted. I know that you are a singer. I know that you are a songwriter. I know that you've produced. What else?
I write poetry. Another thing I'm trying to do this year is publish a book of my poems. And I've been doing 30 by 30 religiously for over a decade. So I have all of my poems, and I'm starting to sift through the ones that I think I'd like to collect and put down in a little book.
I think that would be perfect.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I got the high. It's one of my cousins.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah, I'll be excited, y'all. I'm very cheesy. I don't care. Anyway, okay. So we were talking about, if I can recall correctly, this is now a time where people are starting to understand their value like never before, especially what they can contribute to, the corporations that they work for. Never a time in the past have we heard, like now, essential workers.
Yeah.
Right. And people who, not me, I will say that, but I think there was a point in time, I feel like New York really made me see people that I definitely did not see in the fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know that they're there, you know that they're working, but you're not really necessarily like tuned in to their presence, if you will. Like, you're at a restaurant, you know that somebody is waiting on you, you know that you've got this person serving you a beverage, but are you really connecting with that person? Like, this person is serving you your beverage, so in a way you're trusting them with your life because they're putting together food and drinks for you. Are you acknowledging them? Hey, how are you? What's your day been like? You know, and I didn't really see that, or I will say I didn't practice that in Columbus until I moved. And when I moved to Maryland, I first started to practice that because when I would go to happy hour with my cousin that lives there, one of the bartenders was a friend of hers. So there was that personal connection already. But then when I started coming to New York and I would hang out with you, Koku, so on and so forth, and you were one of the people that when we'd go into places, you'd be like, I used to work here, I waitressed here, during college, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So it was like, and I would see how you would interact with restaurant workers, whether it was the waitress or waiters or whether it was the bartenders. And it was like, then you saw like the humanity in them. And they were no longer somebody who was just serving you something. It was Raul. And, you know, it was up to notch. Like, they became someone who was doing this particular job that benefited you in that moment. New York really taught me that. So I don't know what it's like for other people right now, but when you go into the grocery store, that person who is now at the door with the sanitizer wipes and the mask on, it's like you can't engage in conversation with them because it's a very tense environment right now.
Yeah.
But it's like we're gonna have to get to a point where I think we gotta acknowledge, because it's like, yo, you're really out here and you're putting your life on the line. You could potentially be putting your life on the line because COVID doesn't affect everybody the same way. And where you, Alaiki, had COVID, you beat it, thank God. You were talking about how if it was like your grandmother, for example, chances are it wouldn't necessarily be the same story because her body is older.
Yeah.
The incapability to do all of what you did to push through it. And the fact that, you know, I don't think people are, you know, having this conversation. You basically mentioned in the last hour, it took about a month for you to really get through it. That's not like a regular time period to be ill.
No. It was probably the most, knock on wood, the most ill I hope to ever be in my life, but the most ill I've been to this point in my entire life. I've never known a consistent time period where the residual effects of not being able to breathe. I want to shout out Demetrius. So I know. Like last time, my screen froze, so I couldn't really see the people who were talking, but now I can see people. But but you know, I just lost my thought. It went pew. But
let me see if I can. It might be coming into my window.
I see it.
You were talking about. You got it?
Yeah. Throw it away. Thank you. Okay. What was that? What was that thought? Yes, it was the biggest I'd ever been and hope to ever be. But going through that is a lot. If it was a lot for me, I can only imagine what it would be like for a child or an 86-year-old, 90-year-old person who may also have complications on top of it. Because I like to be in control, and if I'm not in control of like my breathing, then I get anxious. I even lost my sense of taste and smell, and that was a problem because I I already had issues breathing, so I almost literally felt like, I'm like, what if this lasts? Like, what if I'm never able to taste again?
And we love to eat.
Yeah. My favorite flower is gardenia. What if I could never smell that again? Like life to a degree, like I'd still be alive, but I feel like even having those moments, I felt hollow inside, you know? And for someone else to experience it, you know, it's a lot. It took a lot to yeah, it took a lot.
It's really humbling, I'm sure.
Definitely. And I just hope I have the discipline to carry with me, like the things that I wasn't doing correctly, to just stay on it. Like next time when I travel, take care of myself and like, pay attention. Don't maybe not be so like close to the stranger sitting next to me that just traveled from God knows where, who like wants to like strike up a huge conversation and we're in the same breathing space. Like, you know, but I'm a friendly person. I'm a social person. I love people. I love going to the train and meeting new people I've never met before or seen before. I love seeing like you. I mean, I live for being social and like those aspects of it too, especially elderly people. They need us. They need the young people. They need
we need them.
Yeah. And exactly. Like my grandma, like, is one of those elderly people that doesn't really go out. She can't. She has complications. My mother is her caregiver. And it showed me how mentally strong she is to go from the kitchen to the bathroom to the dinner table. But yet she's incredibly current. She reads the newspaper every single day. She'll tell me what's going on in the world. She'll ask me what I think about it. She'll call me and tell me what I need to do to make sure that I'm well, because she survived, like, I don't know what it was. It was some scarlet fever or something happened when she was a kid, and a lot of children were dying from it. So she's like, you know, you just have to put a hot towel, put the Vicks on your chest, get some mustard, you know, it draws out bacteria. Like, I'm like, okay, grandma, like, how do you know, and then have her wherewithal. I'm like, what would I do without you? Like, what would I can't imagine a world without you in it. And I can't imagine a world where you and people like your age bracket are having to deal with this, you know, but that's a reality.
It's really interesting that you say that, because like when my grandmother was alive and when she lived here with us, like, you know, we were like thick as thieves, like, so that grandma relationship, like, it's so invaluable, and it has made me really just like appreciate people who are elder, because they just be knowing stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yesterday I was mixing some shea butter for myself, and I usually like incorporate coconut oil, some other oils, right? And I couldn't get the coconut oil jar open, and I was like struggling. My mom she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, girl, I can't get it open. And she was like, oh, put it and run hot water. Just 1 minute, maybe longer, you'll be fine. You know, and I'm like, what is she talking about? But I don't have anything else to do. So I did it.
And it worked.
And it worked. And she just walked by. She's like, I told you, you know, and just, you know, what about her business? Because I know she probably could see, like, I was like, girl, what kind of, but it's one of those things where like, we don't realize, but it's the same way when we have like little like nieces or nephews or whomever, the little people in our lives will be doing stuff and we'll just be looking at them like, what are you doing? And we'll give that guidance. And they're like, it's the same thing. So it's like, we got to appreciate that cycle. And now everything is being like presented where we are appreciating, because we have the time like never before to reflect, you know. I know we had quickly communicated, I think it was maybe last week or the week before, and I was telling you how I was going to send you some masks.
Beautiful, by the way. I saw the post. I saw your post. It's absolutely beautiful what you made.
You know, I appreciate you. Like, the thing about it that I've been wrestling with is what context do I send it? Like, what else? Because it's not just about a mask.
like one of the things that, has been really taxing for me is like the ethical aspect behind the mask. Because when people first started making them, I know Koku and I had joked, and she was like, "You need to just start making some masks, some African," and and I was just like, "Please, this is like a quick hit bandwagon type of thing. That's not really us." But then, some things changed, some conversations happened, and my communications with essential workers, like in the medical field, it was like, okay, we do need to do this. So now, there's a lot of discussion around what's the real, like, what should you be doing with your mask? Because I'm seeing a lot of dialogue about masks, but I'm not seeing a lot of direction about masks. And when I speak to people in the medical field that are my friends and whatnot, I'm like, I have some concerns, and I'll go through my list of concerns, and they're like, oh, yeah, because they're thinking about it from when they use it at work, and they already have certain things ingrained in how they do things. So they're going to realize I need to sterilize this after I use it. So I need to go ahead and throw it in the dryer or even wash and dry it. Whereas I'm like paying attention to even my mom, whomsoever, when they take the mask off, they just throw it on the counter. It's become like an accessory, as opposed to it needs to be treated like something other than your keys that you're grabbing because you're leaving to go out. Yes, take your mask, but is your mask clean? Because if it's not clean, it defeats the whole purpose, right? I'm not seeing any context about that on social media. So I'm literally taking notes now because I've got to prepare content for that.
I'm happy that you just shared that on Instagram. But at the same time, I kind of think that you should be the person to make a video with an essential worker, like using your mask on how to use it. That could be an interesting thing.
I think I know you're right. I know you're right.
And thanks, maybe iterate it.
Yeah. Maybe because I was like, I know that I have like an amazing network of people. Like, I'm so blessed because I have such a large network of really like intelligent, really smart people. And I was like, I know that a lot of people don't have access that I have. They just don't. They don't have people in their arsenal who, are medical doctors that they can literally just pick up the phone and that person will answer. Mm-hmm. One of my best friends is a nurse practitioner. My younger sister is about to finish up her master's in global health. Like, so it's like I've got access to information that I would normally delve into because, I can't even stand the sight of blood for real. Like, it's not my forte, right? So, but I'm like, I know a lot of people are not thinking like this. And the fact that now it's starting to become like, I don't necessarily want to use the word fetishize, but I know what you mean. Be a fetishist. You know what I mean? I haven't even been drinking. Imagine if I'd been drinking. But it's now like this whole, ooh, it's sexy. I'm seeing footage from old concerts where like you've got some of these, major celebrities like Beyonce and her dancers have on whatever, or she has on a mask, and I'm like, yo, yeah, we can get cute and creative with the masks. I'm not against that. Hell, I'm a fashionista myself. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we got to focus on the health aspect first because we're still in this shit and we don't even know what 2 months from now looks like.
Yeah, it's not. I think, I used to see people wear masks in my travels. like, let's go back like maybe even 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's just so
extra.
I'm like, is that even necessary?
What
I know.
are you doing?
Or if I'm in New York and I'm underground, I'm like, yeah, pathogens. What? I sing on the train, but I know how to wash my hands. I'm not be out here. And now I'm like, oh snap, pathogens. Like,
yeah,
like maybe I should have paid a little bit more attention to those people who were walking around. And I'm like, that's where you come in and you make it cool. And you can, I mean, I just, it's so interesting just hearing you speak right now because I just get the idea of, I would love to see like what that looks like in a video or like a little bite of the mask because that's true.
Yeah.
I started putting alcohol on the mask after I would wear it. That
Mm-hmm.
wasn't something that I did like immediately. And then I'm like, wait a second, this was just on my mouth. Like, let me go wipe this down real quick and like get some alcohol. Let me Lysol it. I got Clorox bleach and water. Like,
yeah.
let me put it in the sunlight, like during the day on the windowsill, so that.
And that's literally what. So, I guess thank you for talking through it with me out loud because, I was right before I started this happy hour session. I was talking with one of my girls about it because I had dropped off some masks to her last week. So usually when I do like a donation drop off, I'll follow up within a few days and ask like, how's it working? What needed to be improved? That sort of thing. So we were kind of in that conversation. And someone important to me, you know him. We'll talk about that later. But he had sent me like this video, all these videos are going on online. And but I watched it because he doesn't send me a lot of stuff. So if he sends me something, then I'm like, oh, and he's like, I think you need to watch this. So it was like, Chris
Rock, Southside. All day though.
Chris Rock. You don't know who we talking about, mind your business. Also, hi. But so this was like a 2-hour, and I'm gonna forward it to you because I want your opinion just as somebody who has gone through COVID. Like I think you're the only person that I think I know personally who has had it and who has beat it, I'm definitely going to be like, yeah, this is my friend. Like in the future when we're out, I'm like, yeah, this is my friend Aleki. She's singer, songwriter, producer, actor, and COVID beater.
Yeah. Pretty
like
much.
that. Like, boom. So, but I want you, honestly, like, it's like we have this idea as people who are like going through this, but to be somebody who couldn't breathe, was having to, self-care and be cared and doted on after by somebody, especially like if you're independent and you're not used to having to have somebody like help you. I know I've had that issue as well. Yeah. Like when you're vulnerable, I want you to see what this video has to say, like the information that the scientists were breaking down and stuff like that. And they do talk about masks and the very point that I bring up of like how effective is it? Because it's effective, anything really, it's effective if it's being used correctly. Mm-hmm. And there, one week they were on the news like masks for the general population, side-eye. And then within 2 weeks, they were like, everybody go get a mask. Go make a mask. You're a mask maker.
Get your sock. Have a coffee filter. Bandana. Scarf.
Paper towel.
Leaf.
Like, what? And then
mask.
This plant, look, this bookmark, also a mask.
That's
so like hot. It was like the narrative changed overnight and everybody just reacted immediately. And I'm like, did we think about what happens
after this moment of, okay, now you have this mask on, and, you know, I've had people present me with some of their masks, and we're literally talking about, like, you know, one or maybe two layers of, you know, I always have fabric around.
Yeah, I love it.
One or two, you know, layers of fabric that, you know, you're covering, but what is the effect? What is that really doing? And then, you know, when I had that thought when I was making it, because like my first couple ones, honestly, I was down there, girl, if it wasn't for Bill Withers, Chris could tell you. Chris could tell you, if it wasn't for Bill Withers, like I have had Bill Withers on repeat. I actually have like a little, yeah, it's, hey, Jessica. Yeah, because like the notion of having to make something because it could potentially help save someone's life, not you're making something because they're about to kill it on the stage.
Right.
Or they're about to, you know, present on the runway, or we're about to do a dope photo shoot. Like the humanity of it was really tough for me at first. And then coming up with a pattern, like I was like, also, like, I don't make masks. Like now I gotta make masks. How do I make masks? So it was a lot to not really, the mask itself was cool, like perfecting it. I'm still working through sizing and stuff like that, especially since materials are limited. Everybody and their mom now thinks that they can make masks, so everybody's running to the stores. Elastic is like impossible to purchase.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like finding black material, black cotton is like, wow. Oh my God. It's like how when people were like struggling to find toilet paper, the essentials to like make a solid mask, that's how it is at Joann Fabrics. The struggle is real. And I'm used to my little, you know, fabric spots in New York, my people there that I've built relationships with, and I don't have access to them right now. So
it's interesting how it affects you.
The mental fortitude has been real for me. Like I'm so much better now, but like the first week, I was like, I would just be sewing and start crying. And then like, and I was like, you can't drink through this because that's not going to work. So it wasn't even like, go get a glass of wine. This was like, you just push through it. And then shipping, and then my first order was like for 25 essential workers. So
powerful.
Yeah. So the mental fortitude that everybody is dealing with right now, that's literally why I started hosting these. Because I was like, you know what? There's got to be something good. It can't all just be messed up. And it's been dope, like coming together, at least knowing like, okay, Thursdays, I'm going to the corner with my phone because that's the new happy hour location.
Now we'll go to this end of the couch because it's
right. But we've been talking about a lot of different stuff on here. You know, one of my friends, Kristen, I know she did a whole session on creative gardening and took us like, yeah, you guys, because green thumbs, you guys would be like, green thumbs unite. Yes, you guys would be like this. Because I remember coming to see you the first time in Harlem and you had plants all over. I was like, is she serious?
I was gardening in Burbank in Harlem.
Yep.
People are shocked when I say that you can garden in Harlem, but yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
yep.
So we've been talking about a lot of different things that people can do, you know, during this time. But one of the things that I definitely want you to do is to sing.
Yeah. Let me
sing?
This is the first time I've actually sang since all of this. I haven't really sang. I wasn't able to sing. But I don't know. What should I sing? I don't
What
really
should you
know.
sing? Does anybody have any requests?
I don't know. I don't know. You guys drop your requests.
Yeah, let me see. I see, oh, Jan's little sister. Hey, love, I see you. How are you?
There's a lot of people that have joined. So
Yeah,
shout out to everybody that has joined. We be getting into it.
I have an original. It's called Morning Rain, because this little leaf right here. A cappella, of course, but it was inspired just by kind of like a moment like this, sitting by a window. Y'all can't really see, but I was just sitting outside and there were leaves that looked Space and Time. I see you, Chris Rob. Okay, I'll sing Space and Time. Never mind, forget it. I was setting up a little story, but no. I was like, what am I gonna do? Try to talk about comic book creative, but I think that's actually a really good choice right now.
Okay, wait. Your website, first of all, I'm gonna type it in the comments. Say it for me.
It's eliki.bandcamp.com right now. eliki.bandcamp.com. I know, right? Thanks, Chris. I see you.
Why is he the hype man, Chris?
I wish I had Chris Rob here right now. I miss you.
Okay.
Hey, guy. But, okay. And I'll build a spaceship with plastic reminders of all I learned here on Earth. I'll take it with me when I hit the sun. I know that nothing will burn like the sting from a memory of being a human who dwells in this world right now. I'm not a Martian, no, I'm just a human whose time to fly is space and time. Space and time. Space and time. Space and time. I have a soul that can outrun a liar and float beyond the sky. Down here they tell me I can't take it with me, but I say that's a lie. There's no plastic or carbon or spaceship or Martian that stops me from my flight. So my soul is my spaceship and I'll take it with me to reach beyond space and time.
You better sing, girl. You better sing.
Thank you. Thanks. I share that.
Yeah. You don't even sound like somebody who is sick. I'm over here tearing up.
Thanks. Yeah, I guess I need to get that out of my system because it's hard. I felt like, talking about the creative aspect of the conversation, like being trapped and like not being able to express myself. Like I didn't realize how much I sing in a day. Like, I'll sing around the house, I'll whistle, like, the guy I'm seeing is like, are you whistling? And I'm like, oh, was I? Like, I do it just without thinking, I love you, Chris. I see you, hey. But but not
everybody
even being
loves it. Yay.
hey. But, not even being able to, like, I always find, like, if something is going on or there's something troubling me that I can get over, I'll sing. I'll just sing to myself. I'll put on, the thing that's been getting me through is just playing music and writing the poetry. And holding out. I've been listening to classical music. I've been finding music I never listened to before. And if I was like watching a TV show and they had on music, I would just literally take my phone and do this.
Like
then I'd immediately go find the music. And then that gave me like some solace as a creative because I'm like, well, I can't express myself here. So now I have to just kind of change the wiring and express myself over here. Or
that's really deep.
Painted my room, like took the energy of like painting the room a whole nother color, did by myself with like lines lining and played classical music like the whole time. I listened to this pianist, the first pianist I sang with, his name was Buddy Charles. He played at the Drake Hotel. I was 8 years old when I first sang in public, and I'll never forget it. he was one of the most amazing pianists I'd ever heard, right? Well, in my 8-year-old life, because, you know, he probably was the best pianist at that time. But
Chris Rob over there, like, who?
I didn't know you when I was 8, Chris. So, you know, but the cool thing about YouTube is I didn't know Buddy Charles died from cancer, but he did. But this man recorded him doing like the songs that he would play, I guess, throughout his set. And the Drake Hotel, the Coke d'Or. And I painted my room while listening to Buddy Charles, and I felt like I connected with my inner child. Like I kind of visited these different aspects of myself through quarantine, having gone through all these different variations of like, I can't breathe, will I die this way, to like, I'm alive, let me paint my room, let me do something creative in another way, let me change the wiring because I'm doing all I can, and this is all I can do.
Yeah.
I'm left to my devices of, okay, I can really be upset about this, or I can do my best. So I just chose to like do my best.
That's amazing. I'm happy not only to hear you say that, but to also, it like reminds me of when you know, I had to come back last year because of my accident, and I couldn't do what I was normally doing, right? And it was like I had to change my wiring. That's actually, during that period, that's where the book came, because I had to like shift, you know, and I was kind of going stir crazy because I was like, I can't just be sitting here all day. Like I can't. So it's interesting because when you are creative, you really, and it's not that there are some people who are creative and some people who aren't. Everybody is creative. It's just about, are you open to exploring your creativity? That's really the question.
Another thing that I really dig about quarantine, first of all, kudos to you, because I'm also speaking to a published author, and I forget that. And I take you for, to take you for granted, like we're really like, kudos to you, like the people that I know, and even people reflected here, and Hugs DP, I see you on there, you know, are Renaissance artists. We really are. Like you're an entrepreneur on top of all these other aspects of your mind, manager of music, like you've done so much already, right? And I don't know about you, but I feel like I sometimes have a tendency to get too into my phone and like social media, but now I just wanted to like detox from it and like really go inside myself, which was hard to do because at first I like binged on Tiger King, like everybody. I was watching stuff, but I got to a point where I was so wired by that I'm like,
say no to Tiger King. Say no to Tiger King.
I know. But then I was like, let me go to like my core. Let me really like see what I'm made of here. All right. Yeah. There's some things that I can just cut the fat away here. I don't need this. Like, you remember that little cat meme where it's like negativity?
Yes.
Vibes. Yeah. Like
procrastination.
Yeah. Like insecurity.
Yeah.
Looking at for too long on the IG. Boom. Like, why don't you paint? Fill it. You know, get rid of the stuff I don't need. Gone. Fill, you know? And it's like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm capable of when I'm using my mind for like what I should be doing. And that is creativity, like being able to change and adapt our human minds to certain situations and creating, like, again, back to that thing of value, which human beings were really great at our best. And and this exchange, you know, of having two, like, duality of the mind, right? The positive and the negative, and just being able to overcome these trying times and approach life with a different skew, like a different point of view, like from a different frame.
A different vantage point, for sure.
Yeah, that we may not have understood had we just kept going, you know. For you, it took, like, not to say that it took an accident, but your accident showed you that you could write a book.
Oh, honey, when I say it took it, because you know, I was so angry. I was so mad at God. I was mad. I was just really, really, really mad. And I was mad for like a solid, like, oh my God. So this is going to totally, because you saw me when I was still in New York before I came back. And matter of fact, no, this was August.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
because we recorded that podcast episode and you guys came over and cooked. Yo, like, because those moments, it's like every moment I remember, because I was like a cute cat by the window, like trying to just get fresh air because I couldn't leave. I couldn't go out of the apartment for 3 weeks. You know, I was carried up those stairs and then I was just there and that was it. And then it was like I was in a safe place, but I wasn't home. You know what I'm saying? So like I didn't have that excessive love and doting aside from my sister. And she had to work. She still had to like make moves and do stuff. And I was like kind of in a foreign environment, if you will. So it was like, yo, I cannot believe this happened. It happened now. And I was in the middle of like 2 bridal projects when that happened. So trying to get my tailor to like not miss deadlines was already something. I was just so angry. So I had like a period, and I think a lot of people are feeling that, where you have this period where you're just angry, like, I can't believe this is happening. You know, you kind of see people out there that are just, they're complaining. And it's like, it's valid. I don't want to take that away. But it's like, you got to go through your steps and allow yourself to go through those steps. But my prayer is that people get to a point where they accept what is happening. Like, okay, this is what's happening. So now what can I do in this particular space and time to get myself mentally together? Because the mental fortitude at this point, like, I don't think it has ever been more relevant and more of a topic that people could like finally relate to than now. So imagine I'm writing a book about mental fortitude for entrepreneurs, creatives, you know, people who aspire to be in those spaces, influencers, if you will. And now people are hitting me up like, yo, your book, because it was definitely, I mean, I can only write it from my perspective. I can't write it from another person's perspective. I can only tell you, as an entrepreneur, if you don't have your mental fortitude together, you will not go forward. You just won't. You'll always quit right before, and it'll be right before something that's you're probably destined to be great at. You're about to be there and you'll quit because you just don't have the mental fortitude. So like now it's the regular conversation. It's amazing. I never thought, like, I was like, maybe one day my book will mean something. I didn't think it means something like in 6 months.
So I want to acknowledge you for that foresight and penning that down, because I applaud you. That's amazing. And
girl,
maybe that's conscious, just being connected and knowing, you know, somehow, and what a beautiful thing to have.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope it helps. Like the whole thing, like what you were saying about poetry, what, you know, the main aspect of the book is about journaling, like how important I believe it really is for people to be writing if they are creative. That's really what I hone in on, like whether, like one of the topics a few weeks ago on this happy hour, we were talking about the different ways. Not everybody is necessarily somebody who can like you write poetry, you know, you're a songwriter, etc. So your writing is not going to look like my writing. I'm like, I've been journaling, I don't know, it's been so long, right? Awesome. I couldn't even tell you how long, but, and then my friend Chris, she was sharing on our live how her writing has been sketching. So she's working on projects, and before she does the project, she sketches it out. And that's like her way of releasing. So it can be a variety of different ways in which you approach getting it out from in your mind onto paper, because I promise, like, once it hits paper, it becomes like real. The vision now hits. And that's where we get all these songs from. You being able to bust out
space and time. Yeah. Like it's crazy. When I be around y'all, I just be like, just give me a drink. I'm in heaven. Because y'all all, especially when all you singer and songwriters come together, like, and y'all will just be in a session and I'll just be there like, why they keep asking why I'm in New York? I'm not coming back.
Graham, I've been such a bad friend. Can you please post the link to your book so I can buy it? I'm going to buy your book after this. I can't wait to read it because you said something that really speaks to me, and I feel that.
Oh my God, you know you're in it.
I know. I can't. I know. So you told me. Please send me the link because I'm gonna buy it because I've been reading a lot too.
I just thought about it.
I'm like, you're my friend. I need to support you, and these are things that I do at my best and need to do more of. Let me read this book, yeah, because that's brilliant, and I can't wait.
Oh my God, you're so funny. Okay, so it's I'm putting it in the comments. Flourish or Die on Amazon.
Great, I can't wait to read it. But the writing and the journaling that you speak on, I think that when I really tune into myself, if I ever feel lost or I've gone off track, I have to write.
Yeah.
I have to write because and that makes us alchemists, you know, taking the thought which lives here that we can't see, putting it down. Is that how you see like your pieces that you make? Do you see it in your mind before you put it down, or it happens as you're making it? Or do you set out to do something out of curiosity?
So I think I'll speak for myself and Saleh as well. I know that we sketch. Okay. Yeah, you know, everything is a little slow right now, but wow. Thanks, Chris. Thank you for the support. We sketch. I think sometimes I dream. Sometimes I dream. Sometimes if I don't dream it, I'll be like, it'll be like the environment, if you will. Like, you know, the last full collection that we developed, I was in Sierra Leone. So I was like mesmerized because everything was new to me. So I was just paying attention to everything. And I didn't even know it in that moment, like what I was seeing was like necessarily directly influencing. But I remember when I got back and I was meeting with my stylist in DC, and he was looking at images because we had just shot the collection in New York like a week and a half ago, and I had just got the pictures from Dior. And Manny Dior and I used to work together like this when I lived in Maryland. So he was like the first person. I was like, you got to see these photos. And one thing he was like, these are sexy, but you're not showing any skin. No, none of the models are showing any skin in this collection. And I was like, it's because Sierra Leone is very traditional. And I didn't realize, because of the fashion of the people that was influencing me, it affected how I was envisioning and sketching. Like, of course, over here, I'm going to wear the crop top and I could wear it with like something low maybe and show, you know, midriff or whatever. But when we designed it and hit the final designs, which of course Saleh, you know, had to bless it and so on and so forth, the environment and the vibrancy of what was happening impacted the final sketches. So sometimes it starts off with the dream. It could be the environment. It depends. It just evolves. And because we work together, I'll sketch, she'll sketch, we'll swap and then sketch some more. It's just like this fluid, ongoing thing until it finally hits and it's sewn by either myself or the tailor.
Wow, I didn't realize how closely you work with Saleh. I didn't realize that till just now. Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
That's my boo.
Yeah.
That's my boo / business partner / big sister, even though I'm the oldest. There is a question for you. Alaiki, what artist inspires you?
It's not just one. I mean, I can't I mean, just now you inspire me. That could be, you know, like I get inspired by my friends. I would say that music for me, well, there's artists, right? Like yeah, actual artists. Like when I was a kid, growing up in Chicago, I had access to so much. My dad was Greek, so like he sang, and he was probably to date for me personally, the most beautiful singer I ever heard. He really should have been a singer, but he was a farmer and he became a restaurateur, but he should have been a singer. And so for me, at first it was like cultural because I grew up in a restaurant where my uncles were breaking plates. There were belly dancers that would pop out of nowhere. I was like a baby being put on bar stool during the day when my dad was getting ready for inventory, and then he'd play the jukebox and Greek folk music would be on. So it started like that. Then my American side, my grandfather and my grandmother played an integral part in exposing me to jazz, but not just like playing it for me like on a TV. We would go out as a family to jazz clubs, which is how I had access to singing at such a young age, learning jazz standards. My grandma gave me my first Billie Holiday CD, and she played vinyl. She had 8 tracks. And I went to live with her when I was 13. And then my brother, like, while I was growing up, was into the grunge period, but also hip hop. So he exposed me. He played music too. He played the piano. He had a band in high school. So I was just getting it really immediately, first from my family, like I would say, and then that exploration of jazz, came from a springboard of things. I started listening to the radio late at night, WBZ. I remember I was up at 5 a.m. and I won an Irene Reid CD, and my grandpa heard Commotion, and I was like, Grandpa, I just want to see WBZ. He's like, that's my girl, you know, and I was like, all right, now go back to sleep. And I was talking to Dick Buckley on WBZ, and I was just like, oh yeah, you know, and I was like a teenager. I was probably like 13. Yeah, and I was so hype, but I fell in love with the music. I fell in love with the people, and then I would meet people like Buddy Charles, who I mentioned earlier, and then he'd be like, you should learn this song. You Made Me Love You, and then I asked my mom to like write it out for me. So it was like a collective. So I'm into so much music. Started singing for The Last Living Copacetic in high school through Reggio McLaughlin, who's also a hoofer, and his girlfriend was from Spain. Studied at the Academy of Spain. She studied flamenco, so I got into flamenco. And then, you know, it really, for me, came from my friends and, like, who I was around, you know, from being on the South Side, being one of a kind, being the only white Greek kid everywhere I went. Like, you know, I was like, my boy would be like, yeah, 91.5. So my boy, Justin, who used to draw, shout out to Justin. I don't even remember your last name, but he used to like rap, and he'd be like, okay, so I'm going to learn I Got a Man. I'm going to learn the raps. When we get out at recess, you got to do the girl part. So he'd be like, I got a man. I'd be like, what's your, you know, like, you know, I would be like, I got a man. Serious? Yeah, so serious. And that's what it was like growing up, you know, for me.
That is so dope.
I learned music from my friend unit, my family unit, and to pick one artist, I can't. Oscar Brown Jr., Chris Robb. I mean, my friends are people. Kahari Lemuel from out of Chicago, Koku Ganza, Chris, you know, Paquette, Micaiah McCraven. I love it. You just have to ask me, like, what am I listening to now? And, like, I'm listening to Blood Orange. I'm listening to Twilight with Gene Baylor and Marcus Strickland. Like, when I was in Paris, like I said, like I just dig and I find songs and it just hits me right here and I have to hear it. And I'm like obsessive with it. I heard when I was on tour in Paris 4 years ago, this song came on at the club Duc de Lombard. I speak piss poor French, and I heard it for like 30 seconds and it was on my Instagram. And I kept trying to like use my other phone to like find the song, and I couldn't find it. I played like 30 seconds of it for this girl, Nicole Sweeney. And I'm like, you work for WBGO. Do you know who this is? She's like, it sounds like Gretchen Parlato, but I don't know if it's her. And then one day I'm on YouTube, Blue Note released something, and they're like, this is Marcus Strickland. And I heard the 30-second clip that I managed to record on my IG. And I'm like, I found the song. I found it. And like, I had that moment. I was alone, and I literally was like, oh, I found it. And I hit dude up on YouTube. Like, if you look on Marcus Strickland's YouTube, you'll see like 10 comments of like, he's so like, oh my God, I've been trying to find you. Oh, it's
oh my God, I'm obsessed with you.
Like, now we gotta get there. Yeah. So like that whole album. And Chris, did you play it? I don't know, but like Robert Glasper, Big Yuki, Keon Harold, Marcus Strickland, Michelle Ndegeocello, cello, Gene Baylor from Jeanne, like Mr. DJ, like, you know, her husband, Marcus Baylor. Like, I'm like, oh, these are people like I know personally, but I like also like love, and like this is just so dope. Why didn't I know this was being released? Like, I just love finding those songs. But then sometimes I just want to chill and listen to like Ice Cube, or like I want to listen to Tribe Called Quest. Like, it just varies on my day. Like, what kind of day am I in? Do I want to find new music? You know, so. But at my core, it's jazz. Then there was hip hop. Then there was house, and then there was house.
And then there was house. Yeah.
And then there was house, and they, you know, but my friends
house makes me miss Chicago.
Me too.
Those parties, summer. Oh my gosh, especially in July, August. Oh my goodness.
Kanye did a good thing by sampling deep, deep down inside, deep, deep. I remember being a kid sitting on my stoop and kids playing basketball, playing that, like, you know, the deep, deep down inside, and the original, and
you guys exposed me to that. Like, I didn't really know of house music on that level until I started coming to Chicago regularly, and like those Mark Fuller situations. And it's so crazy because like I respect him because he would play Fela Kuti's Water Nugget Enemy.
I love it.
When it opens, and it was like, it would be like somebody just like washed me over.
Yeah.
With like, and I'd be like, yeah, finally, like somebody feels me. And I would just be out there for the rest of the night, like, because it would open it up and we would just vibe for the rest of the night to house music. And that's how it would start. And I was like, yo, this place is magical. I'm going home. Like, that's what music does. Like, so you being one of these, like, so I put your stuff on there, and the recap, of course, I'm going to share everything. I know it's like 8:00 or close to, and I feel
15,
like
14, 13, 12 PTSD from the first time we got kicked
coming
off.
soon. It's coming soon. I know it's coming soon. But what would you like people to think of when they reflect on, you know, attending this? What message do you want to leave with everyone?
Oh, for the happy hour with you?
Yeah.
Oh man, consciousness, excitement, the real news, the news that's not paid for by Viacom. Firsthand news from creative people doing positive things to uplift the world around us and in our community. And that community, and yes, I say community because community for me is this heart. Like, it's your heart, it's my heart, and we're speaking the same language here. And and I'm getting fed. Like, come here to get, you know, it's happy hour, right? Like, bring your drink of choice. Mine's pomegranate, yours is the healthy water that you have, but come here to get enlightened and literally get uplifted and happy. Like, I feel so happy talking to you, especially now. So come here to get that. Feed your soul.
Absolutely.
Feed your soul. Get into the spirit, right? They say alcohol or whatever is spirits, right? Well, take your spirit here and like get fed and renewed, you know?
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for you.
Me too. I'm grateful for you. Like,
I'm also grateful for strong Wi-Fi.
Yes. Yes, that's one thing we can count on in quarantine, social distance.
Right. So much love. Until we see each other in person for big hugs. Of course, we'll be in touch, of course. But thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy. Maki, da, da. Right.
He said, hey sister, it's really nice to meet you. I just met this father saying God is just my type. Like the way he's speaking. I don't like his back.
Eliki. Eliki. Make sure you search her on Google and see all of the different projects that she has been a part of. It's a pretty cool search to do. Support her at eliki.bandcamp.com and follow her on social media platforms so you'll never miss when she drops new projects. You've been listening to I Am Gaima, a podcast. I Am Gaima, a podcast is produced literally wherever I am in the world, as long as I've got my laptop and my audio equipment. A special thanks to Vicky Cassis for producing Vibes. Before we wrap this episode up, I wanted to share something really exciting with you all. If you're a creative, an influencer, entrepreneur, or dreamer, you should check out my first little book called Flourish or Die. I share my perspective of what defines the journey of entrepreneurship and the role that mental fortitude plays throughout the journey. In this book, you'll find a 30-day exercise that hopefully evokes the writer in you, because anyone, especially anyone that's in one of these 4 categories, should be writing, journaling every single day. Flourish or Die is available in paperback as well as ebook on Amazon. You can connect with me personally about the book at flourishordie.com. Add Flourish Daily Quotes to your Alexa. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Music, or wherever you get your podcast fix. Thanks for listening.